Hi guys, this is your little lesson on texture on these fluffy little chicks. I'm going to post the picture of them on this cute little candle stand that is just done with clay pots and saucers, but I'm just going to show it to you in the multimedia pad, and I want to show it to you a couple ways. So as you get going in your painting career, you may end up with some brushes that are well loved, a little scruffy, but they have a purpose. Or there's also things like our Deerfoot brush, which we talked about. So this can be done from a base coat, or we can start from scratch. I'm got the base coat on here already. I'm going to want to have my colors that I'm going to be needing for my shading and highlighting. So in this case, I'm going to need white. I'm going to need my yellow, and I'm going to need a deeper yellow. So I'm going to go with, I used primary yellow, and I'm just going to go deep ochre for my shading, and I might need to pick up a little brown. We will find out in just a moment. So this is a fun way to do things like chicks, bears, bunnies. Oh, come on. I'm taking a kind of scruffy-ish brush and then picking up my yellow. I'm just kind of tapping it on my plate. And this is going to be my base coat. I'm going to base coat his face. Just tapping it in. It's kind of fluffy. So you don't have to stay in your lines, because fluff and stuff doesn't usually stay in lines. I'm going to tap in here. There is really no advantage or disadvantage. You sometimes see some of your background color through when you apply it this way for your base coat. This one I just base coated with a little brush. But I'm going to do the shading and the highlighting the same on both of them. So here we go. Boop, 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 boop. When you're doing the pouncing method, you really can be working wet on wet, which that can help blend things a little easier for you. Oops, I just made her a little bigger there, okay. So I've tapped it on. I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm going to pick up some, we're going to pick up a little bit of the deeper yellow color. And it's not just on the edge of the brush. I've picked it all over, and I'm just going to tap where I want to see some shading. So a little bit under his wing, her wing, and head. Maybe a little bit around the head. Now, if that color would be too dark, I would wipe off my brush, go back to my base color. In this case, it's yellow, and just tap back over it. So I know I've got my yellow was my base color, and I can just tap back over it, and I can soften it up. I can also, when I'm putting that shading down, I can pull it a little bit more into the area where I want to see the shading. So I'm going to pick up just a little bit of that, and I'm going to create an area where her cheek is going to be, or the cheek is going to be. So just a little tap, 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 tap. Okay. I'm wiping my brush off. I try not to clean it too much when I'm doing this. I'm going to pick up white, and I'm picking it up pretty much on the whole thing, but I am going to tap it off my paper towel because I don't want to be too much. I'm going to tap around her belly. I'm going to tap all the way around from where the shading stopped. I'm going to go all the way the bottom part of her wing, and I'm going to go on the top part of her wing. I'm going to go around her head. I'm going to start right near her beak. Tap, 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 tap. And if my brush is too big, this one's a little big, I can simply find a smaller one. Or, in this case, I just went back with my yellow where it was a little too much. So she's pretty fluffy. I can keep adding yellow and white to make her lighter. I can go back and add more shade color. It's as fluffy as I want her to be. So I want her to be a little fluffier on the top. So I'm going to show a little more white up here. My white's not showing up as much because I'm on a white background. but it doesn't have to be just an outline. You can pull some of that color in a little bit. Okay, so he's dry. I'm going to rinse my brush and dry it off really well. Now, you certainly could get a very similar look by floated color, but I just wanted to show you just using the texture of this, okay? So she's not done, but I want her to dry a little bit before I come back and add a second coat. So again, I'm going to start with the Antique Gold, a deeper shade, and I'm going to tap where I'd like to see some shading. For this guy, it's like right under his chin, under his wing here, around his head, on his wing. And the harder you push, the more paint is going to come off. Okay. And again, he's going to have a little bit of a, we're going to call it a cheek. It's going to be where his eye is going to sit, okay? I'm just tapping that on rather lightly. He looks a little funny, but that's okay. Wipe that off, or I can even rinse it off, but you want to have a pretty dry brush. And I'm going to pick up some white, and I'm going to tap and highlight a little bit on his belly. And again, remember, I can come back with the yellow color and soften it if it gets to be too harsh. I'm going to come back and touch the back of his wing, the top of his wing with the yellow, or the white. This is white. Pulling it down a little bit. I'm going to go around underneath his cheek, around his head. Pick up paint when you need it. Tap it off. He really got a little too white in there, so I'm going to bring it, just tap right back into some yellow. And that's my first go-round with my little chickies. So while I'm waiting for my next go-round to happen, I'm going to take a small little round brush or liner, whatever you prefer. I prefer to have one, but I had one here just a moment ago, and I didn't know what I did with it. Here, here's a good one. And I'm just going to go into a little bit of an orange. This is spiced pumpkin. I'm going to need just a very little, so I'm just going to go into the top of it. I'm going to fill in their beaks. The beak kind of sits right onto its little cheek area. What did I do to this one? I'm not sure what I just did to this guy. Yeah, we're going to change his beak. He's going to have a little bit bigger beak. That's okay. That's okay. So I'm just getting a little beaks going here. We're not going to do a whole lot with our beaks. They're going to be in flowers, so they really don't have feet. But if you needed for them to have feet, they would probably be brown. I'll just give you an idea where they might be, okay? I'm going to rinse my brush. I'm going to pick up a little tiny bit of brown on my liner brush, and I'm going to line the back part of their beaks. Oops, I just made a mess in my brush. I'm lining the back of their beaks, and I'm going to split their beaks with a little brown. So lining the back of his beak and splitting his beak. A little harsh there. We'll just soften that up. Okay. Then on his cheek, we'll add his eye. But let's go back and look at our little fluffy guys and see where we might want to blend in some more color. So I can pick up a little yellow if there's any place that's a little too harsh, or if I've gotten too much white somewhere. If I want to see a little more fluff somewhere, I can pick up a little more white. I really want to see it next here for him. I like that underneath the cheek. You know me, I probably want to add pink to my cheek, but we won't. Not today. But just let him be fluffy. They're pretty fluffy. Oops, there you go. Fluffy cheeks. Okay, so what's next? We're going to go ahead and give them their eye. It's I think the easiest way is actually to take a smaller brush, like your round brush, and just dip it into your black. Come on. Where's my black? My black has fallen off. So you'll need very little. You could use your liner brush too, but I'm just going to do this. Dip. I'm going to put one dot there. And I'm going to go dip. And I'm going to put his about there. And we'll let those dry a little bit, and we'll come back and give them a little highlight, okay? So let's use one of our scruffy brushes or a Deerfoot brush. I'm going to go to something a little bigger so I can fill it in a little faster. And I'm going to start by having some greens, and I'm just picking up a couple of colors of green, and I'm just tapping, tapping, tapping. Oh, I picked up black. I did not mean to pick up black. Let's go into a lot more lighter green. This is my beginning of my grass. And yes, I have black in there. I did not mean to pick up black, but it'll be fine. Again, this could be base coated in, but we're just gonna tap, tap, tap. You want a couple shades of green? Okay. Yours is going to go all the way around if you're doing it on the pot. And if there's not enough definition or enough change, you can pick up a little white with whatever green you're doing, and it'll give it a nice variation. Okay, they're sitting in flowers. So I'm going to rinse my brush again because I don't need green anymore. Oh, I really got black. I might have to switch to a different brush. Luckily, I have lots of well-loved brushes. Okay, so we're going to have them in some flowers. So let's grab some. I've got this purple out here, right here. That'll be just fine. And I'm just going to tap and kind of just bring them up a little bit. But I want them, you know, they're in the flowers. But vary them a little bit. Some of them are taller. You can even, oops, I accidentally picked up white, but that's okay, because I'm going to be adding white anyhow. You can even make some much taller ones. They're going to come up behind them. Or you can just keep them all on the down low. So I put some purple in. I'm going to just wipe my brush off. I'm going to pick up a pink, because I want some pink ones in here too. And maybe I don't put them in the same spot. Maybe I just pick a couple other spots. If they blend, it's okay. Okay. Then I'm going to come back in with white on my dirty brush, tap it on my paper towel just once, and just very lightly add some white little additions. And they're sitting in their flowers. Take the tip of your liner brush into some white, and then the lower left, make a little dot. If your eye is dry, if your eye isn't dry, you're gonna have to wait a second. I think I can do this. And put a little in there. Sweet little fluffy chicks. So again, originally I had done them on this like candle holder made from a clay pot, but I just wanted to show them to you on the mixed media pad. I hope you enjoy them. I'd love to see yours when you paint them. Thanks so much.